Oh, hello. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hello. And welcome to another episode of PodGis with your host, the one and only Ava Val. That's right, one and only. If there is ever anyone other than me doing PodGis, oh, I should turn my levels down. If there is ever anyone other than me doing PodGis, then something has gone terribly wrong and we should probably look into maybe changing the name of Podgis to something else because without Ava Val, what the fuck has happened? And it's no longer Podgis. You know what I mean? How are you guys doing? Let's do another one of these where I ask you how you're doing and I'll give you 5 seconds and then and we'll come together, okay? So, hey, how are you guys doing out there? Well, that sucks. Let's make that let's make that a tradition. I sincerely hope your answer is better, in which case I said that ironically. Wouldn't that be funny though? If you said something nice and I was like, "Well, that sucks." That could be a funny bit. So I hope you said something nice and my answer was therefore inappropriate or just plain silly. Otherwise, if I was dead on, I'm sorry. Girl, I'm with you. That's life. That's just how things are. I'll say this, though. For all my Canadian listeners out there, how about that Four Nations victory, huh? I'm recording this the night after Thursday of September. Thursday, February 11th. Don't know why September popped into my head. I think because I'm looking into some stand up dates. But Thursday, February 20, no, it's Friday, 21st of February, the night after the Four Nations win, Canada over America. And for my American fans listening out there, I hope you were cheering for the good guys, aka Canada in this case. And if you live in America, even you have to admit that, you know, you're kind of the bad guys right now. You know what I mean? Especially in this relationship, surely you can admit that your president has been an asshole to our country and its people and to our prime minister, not our governor, our prime minister. And therefore, to if you still don't see it, if you could at least step outside of your country for 1 second and observe the rest of the world's sentiments towards our currently the Canada US conflict that's happening, surely if you don't live in such an echo chamber, you can kind of see that the rest of the world is cheering for us as in Canada or was cheering for us in this situation. So if you could please just give us some credit that Trump instigated all the bullshit that's happening right now between us, and therefore I saw a tweet that was like, uh, America booing Canada's anthem in response to Canada booing theirs is the most brain dead American patriotism imaginable. It's like completely forgetting that your president started this shit to begin with. And so yeah, I not to rub it in. That was I wish I'd watched the game, but I went to I'm such a I went to a friend's place and it was so lovely and I had the best time, but uh I didn't want to cancel on her. We had made plans and I didn't want to cancel and I wondered, I didn't ask her in advance, but I was like, maybe we might be able to like put it on in the background while we're hanging out so I could watch it. And I didn't check in with her beforehand. She didn't have the proper TV channels. So I basically I didn't watch the game, but I watched the notifications on my phone while we were hanging out. and talking. Yeah, I couldn't even pirate it or whatever at her place. But she rents out to she had like a townhouse, and she had somebody living in the basement, and he was watching it, and he had the TV on to the game. And so I heard him yelling when we scored the overtime winner. So it was kind of half present, and that was all I needed. Like, I heard him yell once when Canada tied. I'd gotten there when I think America was up 2-1, and I heard him yelling from the basement when Canada tied. And then I saw that the game went to overtime, and when I heard him yelling again, then I started yelling. Without having the notifications are slow, right? Like it takes a second for the information to get to my phone from the broadcast. So I found out from the guy yelling in the basement, and then with a mouthful of spaghetti, because I was having dinner with my friend, I was like and started yelling that red and white, that tomato sauce marinara. What a Canadian dish. The old red and noodle. Classic. Classic Canadian, man. Yeah. So anyways, um frankly, I feel relieved because listen, America, you have to understand just how much this meant to us Canadians. You know, hockey really it's we don't have a lot here in Canada. we, and I'll be the first to admit we don't have a whole lot. And hockey is one of the things that we have, and among the few things that we have, it's number one. Hockey is truly the biggest thing we have. So I hope you can feel a little less bad because it just means that much more to us. I'm sorry, it just you can't say that it means as much, and especially in this current political climate, in the greater context of the political back and forth that is currently happening. Surely you can sympathize with a country that's getting bullied right now and how much this means to us. So just let us have this, please. If you don't understand, or if you were naturally cheering for America, and of course you could have cheered for America during this, you're American. I don't blame you for that. And it's in the end, it is a hockey game. So you can cheer for your American team. I don't blame you. But please don't be too bitter about this, knowing that it went to the people who needed it more. Okay? Good, good. And we'll see you next year. And better luck next year. I think it's really cool that this is instead of like an all-star game, they I find it interesting and weird and also very compelling that instead of an all-star game, which typically is like players it's like a vacation for players to like chill out and recuperate after a long grueling in the middle of a long grueling season to take a little break. And that's why the all-star games have over the years become less and less compelling because it's everybody moving at half speed. The stakes are who cares? The stakes are so low. It's when I grew up, it was like the East versus the West, and it was like not even nationalities. It was like the teams on the east side of the continent versus the west side. So the stakes were irrelevant, and there was nothing that compelled you to stay loyal to anyone, and to add nationality to this really raised the stakes. Not only that, but yeah, to like make it the best from these to make it such a closed and exclusive tournament like this. Also made it very all-starry, and the fact that the players were playing for pride meant that they weren't about to go half speed, you know? And especially because, once again, the political context of it all, like, really elevated the game. I missed 2 of the fights, in the first Canada-America game that America won. So, also Americans, surely you can feel a little bit, consoled that, like, you won the first game. So, if you really, I mean, we still won the championship, so don't forget that. But if you wanna console yourself a little bit, you can say, and this would be, you can say to yourself, it was a rubber match and it was 1-1 in the end, but we won the more important we won the finals though, just so you know. Um, yeah. Anyways, okay, I'll stop rubbing it in. Um, I have news. I don't know if any of my listeners here are from Boston, but um that date in June that might have to be changed. My travel plans to America might have been usurped by the current administration. So, you know, it is what it is. I'll keep you all posted. Try not to get too bummed out about it, but I'm also, figuring it out. My iPhone lock screen, my iPhone lock screen recognizes me at like 50% at this point. It's a 50-50. And with makeup, I don't know if, does it like slowly learn? It must slowly learn as you age or whatever. Oh, that's a promo. It must slowly learn to adapt to your face as you. Let's find out. I have my internet here open. Let's. um, does my iPhone lock screen slowly learn my face as it ages? Does Face ID adapt and improve over time? As the system is used, it learns about typical variations in a user's appearance and will adjust its registered face data to match aging, facial hair growth, and other changes using the neural engine. Wow. Cool. Yeah, neat. So it's learning my face a little bit as we go. Uh by the way, to bring it back to hockey real quick. Hockey culture in Canada is very funny. I don't know. I don't think it's the same in America. Who knows? But um I don't believe it is because there's a certain Canadian dialect that I often hear in hockey talk, and their nicknames for each other are so basic and silly, but and you know what, maybe it just might be because Canada just won the thing, but they're so silly and basic, but they're so endearing at the same time. Like the the um the Canadian goalie, his last name is Binnington, and everyone calls him Binner. And that's such, like, I'm trying to like quickly think of some examples off the top of my head. Uh but like it's such a hockey thing to add ER to people's names, or Y, like Binny, like Paxi. Me and Paxi are like, if your last name was like Paxton or something, you'd be like, me and Paxi are gonna go out back and huck a few darts. We're probably gonna smash a couple brews. Canadian, like that's like Western Canada and like rural Ontario. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's like Albertan, Saskatchewanian, and rural Ontario, and especially So like anytime I watch a hockey documentary or something, some like in the locker room talk, and they're like, "Hey, fucking Banner went top cheese tonight, eh?" They're like, "Yeah, fucking, yeah, he let her rip." I want to know more. I want to like really round out my vocabulary. Yeah, fucking Banner, eh? Yeah. So hockey, that's funny. There because as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan by default, um, that's funny. Um, ah, uh, wait, where was I? What was I just about to say? Oh, what was I about to say just now? Oh, I opened a window to comment and then I scrolled slightly and then completely lost my thought. Shit. Oh, fuck it all. Um, yeah, wild that the final was in Boston. Oh, I was gonna say, as a default Leafs fan, as a default Toronto Maple Leafs fan, um, lifelong by default. My dad is a Leafs fan. I inherited it. I grew up in Whitby, outside of Toronto. I live in Toronto. It's like I don't really follow them very closely. I'm such a bandwagoner, and if you're a longtime podcast listener, you know how I feel about bandwagons. I think they make sense, and I will never, I will always be pro bandwagon. Get fucked if you're anti bandwagon. Oh, these fucking bandwagoners. Hey, you cheered for the team when they sucked. You know? People are like, "Oh, I was around when they were trash." I'm like, "I'm real. I'm one of the real ones." And it's like, I salute you for your commitment. I'll give you credit there. But y- you're kind of you're a fool. You've been made a fool of. You cheered for a shit team for so long when you could have been doing other stuff. Look at how efficient I am. I didn't care about the team when they sucked. I was off doing other important stuff. And now that the team is good, hey, look, I'm back and I'm enjoying victories. I feel a lot better now while this team is winning with you feeling like the team is winning. Here we are. The team is doing better. And isn't this nice for all of us? And but you had to sit there in misery while they sucked, while I was off playing in the gilly flowers. I was swimming and romping and staring directly into the sun, whatever activities that I so chose to do instead of wallowing in despair at the haplessness of my favorite colored shirts. Not mean, but as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, um, Austin Matthews is our like star player, and he's American. But then we also have Mitch Marner, and he's Canadian, and he assisted I think two of the goals in the final. Anyways, it's interesting adding nationality to the mix, knowing that like your fans could be from whatever team, you know. And there, I think the Kachuk player plays on the Ottawa Senators. It's funny when there's that crossover. And it's also funny when American people, I saw American people post, they were like, America won the Stanley Cup like the last 31 years straight. And it's like, okay, if, that's not an argument. Like you economically have way more teams than Canada does. And that has nothing to do with nationality. In fact, one could argue, and I don't know what the numbers are here. I think I saw William Shatner like fired back and was like 40, no, 90 something percent of the last 31 Stanley Cup winners, the captains are all Canadian. And I think the statistic was also that like what is it, like 50% of NHL rostered players are from Canada. How many players in the NHL are Canadian? What percent? 41.6, almost 50. but 41.6. We'll round it down. We'll say 40. I won't overdo it. I won't overdo it. Um, in the 1980s, more than 3/4 of NHL players were Canadian. So that number is going down. Hockey's becoming more international. I understand that. That's good. But I'll tell you this. I I do wish I could have watched the game because I oh, what's this? I'll save that to watch later. Distraction Gis. Don't get distraction Gis. Close the window Gis. Close the window Gis. Close window Gis. Wow. Shit. Oh, let me tell you a quick story. When Canada defeated America in 2010 in the Vancouver Olympics, the gold medal Vancouver Olympics, Sidney Crosby in overtime. I was going to school in London, Ontario at Western University, and there's a street in London called Richmond Street. It's Richmond Row is the nickname for it's the downtown area. It's all the bars, and since Western University is right there, and it's really like a university. Well, it's not really. It's like 300,000 people, I think. But Western is a prominent um landmark. I don't know. It's anyways, the university is right near downtown. And so it's like a really student heavy area. And we were at a bar called the Seeps, which is where I produced my first regular comedy show at the Seeps. I was also not to misgender myself, but I came in third place at Mr. Barney's competition, which was a beauty pageant that I did comedy for. Um that was pretty funny. Uh what was I gonna oh yeah, that's another story. Okay, I'll make a mental note of that and I'll come back to that. But anyways, the bar was packed for this gold medal game, and when Sidney Crosby scored the game winner, the place exploded, fucking exploded. And I don't remember. I'm sure the bar staff would have been like, pay as you go, because it's like insane in here. It was probably, we were well over legal fire safety capacity. But when that goal scored, the fucking roof blew off, and everyone either just like dumped their beers or chugged them or threw them in the air or whatever. Everyone spilled out into the streets and partied and filled the whole fucking street as far as the eye could see. And I remember like hugging everybody and high-fiving everybody, and the vibe was so fun and so cool. And I remember I met this young lady about my age, a student, of course, and we were both jumping and dancing and celebrating. And within a minute of meeting her, oh, we just met and like made out. We were like, yeah, let's go. You want to make out? I don't know who brought it up. I don't know how it happened, but she was like, yeah. And we like, "Ah." And then I was like, do you want to sit on my shoulders? And she's like, yeah. And she climbed on my shoulders, and we like partied for a bit more in the street. And as quickly as we had met each other, we like separated and never saw each other again. Classic, man. University stories. That's my, and I hope she's doing well. And I should hope that she wishes I'm doing well as well. And if only she could see me now, then she'd be like, am I lesbian? Maybe, maybe, maybe she's currently maybe she is a current resident of the Isle of Lesbos. Maybe she's a current resident of the Isle of Lesbos. Perhaps. Oh, what a wonderful island that would be to live in. Lesbos. How nice. Mm. Um, hey, the other story was Mr. Barney's. I came in I came in third place at Mr. Barney's in what was the year? 2011? I think that might have been my last year there. Yeah, it was me and like 11 other guys, and I was easily the shortest. They were all like super tall and all super jacked, bar star gentlemen. And it was so funny because I used to be ripped too, but not in like the try hard bodybuilding, like protein. I have protein shakes with every meal. And, you know, I would go to the gym, but I just wasn't as douchey about it as these guys were, you know? But I entered it kind of on a lark. And, and you know what? So the three people who were like most out of place out of these 12 people were myself with I had like multicolored dreadlocks at this time. I don't know if you know about this about me, but in university, I had dreadlocks and I had them all throughout. I think I had them for 4 whole years. Crazy, crazy to think. Um, yeah, and they were multicolored. I bleached some of them like white. I dyed a few of them black. It was like three colors. It was my natural hair, black and white. And make fun of me all you want, and I'll make fun of myself too. I thought I looked cool. And at some angles, I still think I looked kind of cool. I don't, you know, cultural appropriation be damned. I thought I looked, as far as white people with dreads go, I think I pulled it off. So fucking sue me. um, I pulled it off sometimes. Other times they looked awful. But when they looked good, they looked goddamn good. Anyways, and there was Lars Classington, who is still a comedy friend of mine. He goes by Joe Larson now. At the time, he went by Lars Classington, and he doesn't do stand up so much anymore. He's more of an actor, but he used to have this like on stage persona that was he's a big dude and not jacked, like big and stout, tall as fuck and just big belly, big booming voice, and that was like his energy on stage. He would come on stage and he used to sing a song about like about having sex with a donkey in Mexico. Real highbrow stuff. I love you, Lars. But um so it was me and him, we kind of entered as a joke. And the other outlier was this guy who worked as um he was a musician. He played guitar and he performed upstairs at the Seeps every weekend, playing acoustic sets while people drank. Good music. And so, anyways, there was like the shirtless part and then the talent part. And when we were all backstage, and I was with all these other guys who, in retrospect, I could have helped oil them up, but at the time I was like super repressed. But and all I could think of at the time, though, that's the thing, is they were all like ripped and muscular, but they were all so douchey. That's what I remember as being backstage with these guys. And one of them was doing, he found, there was a part of the seeps where like there's a banister, I guess, a wooden, what do you call those? It just came across, you know, and he went up and he was doing pull-ups to like get swole, and then he started it, and then I looked around and everybody else was doing push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups wherever just to get swole. Oh, and oil. One guy brought oil, and he was kind enough to share it with, or multiple guys brought oil, and I don't know who, but a few of them like felt nice enough to share with everybody else. So everybody was oiling up, including Lars and myself. We all did it together. and it got my bathing suit. I wore a bathing suit, like board shorts, and it got the top all oily. And I remember it stained them. And I was like, I regret this. These are my favorite board shorts. And now they have this weird French fry. Like I fucking dipped them in a French fry cooker forevermore. Wasn't too happy about that. But for my talent, I did stand up, and the Seeps and Barney's are the same bar, but Barney's is the outside patio portion. So they're like, it's owned by the same people, and it's the same, and you get to Barney's through the Seeps, but they distinguish them. So, anyways, it was Mr. Barney's. I guess it wasn't Mr. Seeps. It was Mr. Barney's, and they set up this big stage and all these big picnic tables, and it was packed, and it was a summer night, and I did stand up, and at the time that was like one of the biggest shows I'd ever done, because it was like this huge patio, and people were also gathering on the sidewalk along the property to watch from the sidewalk, just out like on the other side of the fence. And I did stand up, and it went fine. I think it went well. And Lars sang a song. I think he sang the donkey song. And oh, I think he did a character. He used to do this character named Chet Studebaker, who owned an onion farm, I think, loosely based on Dwight Schrute, but like louder and hillbillier. And I think he hit on one of the female judges by saying that she looked so sumptuous and attractive, like a chocolate covered onion, which I'll never forget that, because I think that is very funny. Chocolate covered onion? That's a real character line, you know? Um Anyways, I came in third, Lars came in second, and we all knew it was game over when the guy, by the way, the guitarist guy was not one of the oiled up douches. He had like what we would modern day describe as a dad bod. So he also stood out for that reason, that he wasn't shredded to bits. But when he went up, I remember he played his guitar and sang 3 a.m. by Matchbox 20, I think that is. And it was so emotional and rousing, and it like destroyed. It blew the roof off the place. And I think he went last. And as soon as he finished, I mean, halfway through, all the rest of us were like standing at the back, and we all like looked at each other and we were like, it's game over, dude. We knew. Cause like it was crazy. As soon as he finished, you could look out into the crowd, and this was an opportunity to do like a meat market thing uh for like hetero women, and I don't know how many gay men were out there. I don't know. Western's a very like hetero-y school, a very bro-y, Ugg boots, chicky school. And so yeah, it was such a meat market that like the girls were all like hooting and hollering over all the shirtless jack dudes. And most of them, as their talent, they would put on a song and the guys would just like do a strip tease or jump on a table and just like do the thing where the guys flex their pecs like they alternate the flex pec thing, which could pass as a personality trait. That could pass as some kind of charisma, you know? Look, if you spend all your time at the gym and you don't have a lot of time to work on your personality, and you're put on the spot to do something charming or funny or not as self-serious, I can perfectly see why it would only be natural for some gym rat to be like "Gah," and scramble and to be like, I can flex in different ways, and then just stumble upon it by accident. Whack, 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 whack. So yeah, most of the other guys did that. And the dad bod who sang 3 a.m. won the thing. And I don't remember what the prize was. I think it was a small cash prize. But my name was on the the marquee for a little while. Ranked number 3. And I'll only admit this now, years later, now that time has passed. But I was jealous. I was jealous of Lars because he got way more laughs than me, and my shirtlessness wasn't enough to edge me over his comedy prowess. He crushed. So I was a bit jealous of Lars, and especially because he was such a close friend at the time, and we were like working together so closely in comedy, and we were working on a local TV show together, and it just felt like a little competitive. There was avigus and competition. It just like flared up a little bit, you know. Anyways, congratulations to who won in third place in this. Uh, who won in the who came in third in this Four Nations thing? Was it Sweden? Who placed third? Four Nations. Where does it say? Just say. Did they not say? I think Sweden. I'm just gonna say Sweden. Four Nations table? Because I know they had like, yeah, Sweden. Yeah. What was that? Oh, so I was the Sweden. All that to say, I was the Sweden of Mr. Barney's, and Lars was America, which is funny because he has dual citizenship. I think his dad is from the U.S. or he was born in the U.S. but is Canadian. Anyways, and number 1 was Matchbox 20 guy. Had I been, I mean, when he was playing guitar up there, I was like, in my head, I was like, I mean, if they're impressed with that, if we could hook up an Xbox and I could play some Guitar Hero 3, that would really blow these chicks' minds. I was really good at Guitar Hero 3. That was the way my voice cracked sounded like the opening to Survivor, where the thing goes. You guys remember that song? You guys watch Survivor? I went on a bit of a Survivor kick a few months ago. My roommate and his girlfriend really got into that show, and we're watching it a lot. And they got me into it. I watched like the 50th season with what's his face? Who name a better Survivor than what's his face? I watched the All-Star Mega All-Star one, the 40th season or 50th or whatever, when they brought back all the champions. Yeah, right? I'm not going to research that. I don't think you guys care enough. But when they brought back the champions or whatever. And it was what's his face? Boston Rob. That's his name. Boston Rob. He's cool. I thought he's just such a cool, he's a legend. Yeah, and he talks all weird. Yeah, and I like the way he talks. Yeah, I went down to the barber and I got a haircut. Was that accurate? Yeah, I went down to the barber and got a haircut. I told him I only got $20. $20. Is that $20? Yeah, I only had $20. Wait. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Thick. Let's put on a thick. No. Hey. I'm going to watch you later. Thick Boston accent. Look, guys, I know how to make you hear. I know how to make you guys hear this. Let's see if this works.
Oh boy, here we go. All right. Oh, there she is. What's up, lady? That's a nice hat.
Thanks, it's my 47 hat.
Wow, where would you wear such a hat like that of such stature? You know, where would you?
Like the pack, the cow.
I don't. You want to do what with clam chowder? I don't
The pack, the car. Where would you wear a Boston Red Sox hat? I don't know. The pack, the car.
know what. Where'd you rock a hat like that, huh?
Oh, Fenway Park.
Ma'am, I don't. It's a very straightforward question. It's a very nice hat. Where would you wear it?
That's
all I'm trying to say.
Fenway Park.
I don't. Okay. All right. All right.
I just said Fenway Park. Where would you wear a hat like? I hope that audio worked. If not, I'll just tell you guys. It was a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and he was like, "Watch this," and he went up to her, and she was wearing a Boston Red Sox hat, and he goes, "Where would you wear a hat like that?" And she goes, "The pack, the cat," and he like dug in a little bit more, and she was like, "Oh, Fenway Park." Oh, my Boston show is in jeopardy. And that sucks. I may not get to do my Boston show. I'll have to park the car. I'll have to park the car in Toronto. Can't do it.
You don't see a problem with those names at all?
No, I don't. I like those names. Why can't we name our kids that?
Our kids are gonna get bullied.
Our kids are not gonna get bullied.
Say it.
Carter.
Say Mark.
Mark. I don't see the issue.
Piper.
Piper?
This week, homeschool it is.
Oh, that's the thickest accent. It's adorable coming from a woman. I don't know if that's like patronizing or infantilizing, but it's adorable hearing a woman go, "Gotta, Mark." What could we name our son? Mark, Gotta, Piper. Bostonians talk like babies. Bostonians talk like toddlers. What am I, a toddler? I'm gonna see the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. Oh, baseball is my favorite sport. Baseball is my favorite sport. I watch it at Fenway Park. Sorry, is that racist? Sorry about that. Oakley dokley. We're reaching about that time. Oh, I have a window open and I got the first draft of my special. So, isn't that exciting? It's still in the works, my latest special. It is I'm deciding whether I'll be real with you guys. The plan is to post it in full to Patreon and keep it up there for like a month, 2 months. I want to give my Patreoners exclusive early access to it. And I hope my Patreoners aren't insulted if I open that access to the greater public afterwards. But I would love to see some people financially like support and pitch in, and it's not a donation. I'm not gonna ask for donations. You pay $5 to watch my special for like a month before it's for free. So if you can't afford it somehow, even though it's $5, and you know you're a fan of mine, so why can't you just like pitch a little fiver for all the hard work that I do? Anywho, yeah, I'm probably gonna put it on Patreon for a month and then open it up to everybody else. But what I'm deciding is how much to edit it down, because as a full body of work, I think it's beautiful and there are a lot of sincere moments. And the premise is that I did improvise most of it. Like a lot of the material, I mean, the opening 10 minutes or so is like it's about 50-50. It's a lot of improv and a few bits just to like get people warmed up that I had been doing at the time. So there's some rehearsed stuff in there. But then the rest is truly like an exercise in stream of consciousness, not podcasting like this, but like juicier and even funnier at some points, big payoffs, big emotional depths. And that also means that there were a few beats where, to the comedian in me, once I had gotten to the end of the joke, or once I had gotten to the end of the premise, I couldn't find the joke. I couldn't find the big payoff, the big catharsis. And so there are a couple beats in the middle that the perfectionist in me feels like I wish. I mean, it feels like I'm self-conscious about it because as a comedian, I watch this in retrospect and I'm like, ah, that could have been better, you know? But when I went into this, I wanted it to be authentic through and through, and it might be a betrayal to my own self if I don't post it as it is. You know, there's a joke in there about my mom, and she told me never to talk about her on stage ever again, even though it frames her in a very positive light. So I'm gonna have to negotiate with myself about that joke. Anywho, for anybody listening and watching, this we're at 46. This is the end of PodGis regular styles, and I'm gonna go on to do extra Patreon styles. So if you wanted to watch the rest of the exclusive content, we're gonna get silly up in this motherfucker, and I'm gonna do a bunch of exclusive content for Patreoners. So if you're a fan of mine, sorry this one was a bit preachy and Canadian, and a couple storytellings that didn't really go much nowhere. But see me being self-conscious again. But yeah, check out my Patreon for the rest of the episode, as well as a whole bunch of exclusive videos that are always up there that you can go back and look at any time. And yeah, so stick around, Patreoners. Bye. Bye to everyone else. Bye to everyone else. Bye. Bye.